This is Heart of the Matter.
Hello, thanks for joining us today. I'm Cody Holmyoke. This week, education is once again top of mind, but for different reasons. You know, we've talked a lot about schools on this program recently and how they're battling the pandemic on several fronts. In Kansas, limitations to remote learning have caused issues during coronavirus case shortages. Now in Missouri, school districts are being sued by the state's own attorney general. Why? Masking. Eric Schmidt, a Republican running for U.S. Senate this year, blasted out suits against nearly 50 school districts in the last week and a half or so, claiming a number of things, chief among them that masks are harming children. And he says districts don't have the right to enforce masking rules. Writing in his suits, school districts do not have the authority to impose at their whim public health orders for their school children. Goes on to write, the theory that mandatory masking in schools prevents the spread of COVID-19 by preventing the transmission of its causative agent, the SARS-CoV-2 virus, has no empirical or rational basis and rejects basic principles of sound public health decision-making, medical science, and statistical analysis. So here's the thing with that. Doctors and researchers say that last part isn't true. It's no longer a theory that masks work. It's a proven fact. I'm not a health expert, but the health experts I know, the ones you know who do follow the basic principles of sound public health decision-making, medical science, and statistical analysis, say the AG's claims don't hold water.
I'm not sure there are many AGs in the United States that are epidemiologists or physicians or trained PhDs in those certain statistics and numbers.
The evidence behind masking is so overwhelming. It is astonishing to me that at this point of the pandemic, we're still having to have that fight. It just hurts because people want to mangle the data for their own political gain. And that's what this is. And the problem is, and we can see it now, is when you have 40% of your student body out or 40 or 50% of the teachers out, then, oh gosh, you can't hold school. And what we've said consistently is let's let kids get in school, but keep them safe while they're there so they can stay in school.
Several districts in our area, and these are just some of them, now have to spend money and resources fighting these suits in court, though there are bills being proposed in the state legislature to cover the cost. We'll discuss that in a bit. Missouri Governor Mike Parson told us this week he supports the AG and thinks masking should be left up to parents. Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quinton Lucas has a different take on the situation.
It is a travesty what is being done at the state level to try to undermine responsible public health mitigation strategies in our districts here in Kansas City. And so what I encourage for anyone is to actually rely on science, to listen to the recommendations coming from doctors and other medical professionals. And anybody who's departing from that, I have seen is largely engaged in broad-scale political grandstanding.
This week, I reached out to a number of superintendents to come on our program. None of them agreed because they're now actively fighting these suits in court. Remember, though, we do know someone directly connected to a number of these districts. Please welcome back to the broadcast Kenny Southwick, Executive Director of the Cooperating School District of Greater Kansas City. Kenny, you've been a superintendent before. You've talked with nearly a dozen districts being targeted by lawsuits right now. What can you share with us about what's happening and what you're hearing? This has to be frustrating.
Yeah, it really is frustrating amidst all the other problems that we have trying to keep kids in school and keeping people healthy. What we know is there's probably 45 plus districts in the state of Missouri that have been targeted by the Attorney General for their mask mandates. We have 11 of those that are part of the Cooperating School District of Greater Kansas City. I have spoken to each of those. What I can tell you is I can't speak for them today, because they are in the midst of the lawsuit, and that's between conversation with their board and their attorneys as they move forward. But there are a few things that I can talk to you about today, give you an idea of what the process might look like and how this might play out.
Sure, and I know administrators won't say much right now because of pending litigation. That's usually what they tell us. This caught my eye. This is from the other side of the state, the Francis Howell School District outside St. Louis. It's one of the largest districts in Missouri. In a tweet, a spokesperson wrote the following: "Our community and especially our elected officials should be celebrating and supporting schools during this challenging time. The lawsuit filed by Schmidt is a waste of taxpayer money on both sides." Kenny, we know a number of these mask mandates are already set to expire in a couple weeks here. What are your thoughts on the money and manpower that goes into these suits now?
So a couple of things I'd like to say first is that as of yesterday, none of our districts have been actually served. They found this out on Twitter. And if our districts weren't following the AG, they wouldn't even know they had lawsuits. They had to have people call them and tell them that he had tweeted it out. So as of yesterday, they've not received that. They are right now, as you can imagine, in communication with their attorneys. They will begin to look at not only what the suit would be, but they're going to continue to look at action that they've got to take to keep kids in their schools safe. I know some of the mandates are getting ready to expire, but I can tell you is they continue to look at the science and listen to the health professionals. These boards and also Kansas City, Missouri will continue to look at mandates to keep their kids safe.
And obviously everybody wants kids and teachers safe. Do these lawsuits change the pandemic strategies? Is this tactic working against these districts, or what are their thoughts right now?
It doesn't really change the strategy other than it's another layer of something that they have to worry about. And again, I think the Francis Howell statement, it is taxpayers' money. You got to figure the taxpayers paying both sides of this. They're going to pay the Attorney General's office to litigate, and the local school districts are going to look at local taxpayers' funds to litigate these cases. So it's an aggravation, but each of these districts are moving forward, and we're going to continue to focus on that, but focus on what's best for kids in schools.
All right, Kenny Southwick, thanks again for your time. Please keep us posted on what's happening.
Will do, and thank you very much.